Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the ATMA podcast, where we give you the tips, tools, and strategies you need to be successful. My name is Brian, and I'll be your host today. Today, we're going to be talking about becoming needed with yours truly, Brian Acosta, again. And this time, I'm going to have Christian come back, but he's not going to be a part of Word Delivery. Christian actually is our podcast tech. So we actually force him to do these shows. So say hello, Christian.
Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? He keeps changing my job description.
Christian wears multiple hats here. So today we're going to be talking about what is it to become needed in a business. We're going to be talking about quite a few things today, Christian. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have to talk about last night's game. Yeah, the Cowboys game.
Yeah, you're going to have to fill me in on that because I did not watch. I did not watch.
It was a very entertaining game. I'll be honest with you. I was expecting the worst, but I'm actually pretty proud to be a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Really?
That's a surprise.
You're actually proud? Like last season you weren't proud?
Oh, no. I was
season before that you weren't proud?
I was pretty proud, but I was like a proud, embarrassed proud. Like embarrassed.
You were an embarrassed proud.
An embarrassed proud. I don't even know if that's a
thing.
As
long as you're not a bandwagon fan, that's all that matters. If you're a fan, you're there, ride or die.
That's what I am. I was a Dallas Cowboys drummer before all of this.
Yeah, and I used to work security there. Good times. Good times.
So we know all about the stadium.
Oh, I loved working up there.
But before we get into our topic, let's actually say thank you to our sponsors. So our first sponsor, as you know, is the Nuvo Desk Co-working. Nuvo Desk Co-working is a collaborative type office area meant to help business owners and entrepreneurs think big. If you're a business owner or entrepreneur that is needing an office space, conference rooms, or just a place to work, visit nuvodesk.com and receive a free day pass. Now, our second sponsor is a new sponsor. Our second sponsor is Southwest Restaurant Equipment. If you're a restaurant owner needing any and all restaurant supplies, visit swrequipment.com. Southwest Restaurant Equipment also has affordable leasing rates for dishwashers. So once again, if you're interested in any kind of equipment for your restaurant, visit swrequipment.com. Now, let's get into the show. Christian, are you ready to talk about becoming needed?
Yes.
That sounds so enthusiastic.
I'm a robot.
All right, so let's talk about becoming needed. What do I mean by becoming needed? What do I mean by that in the business world, in the business handset? When we talk about becoming needed, let's talk about is your business needed? Is it a necessity? And a lot of people are thinking, well, my business is technically a product, it's fashion, it's not necessity. No, we're not talking about that kind of need. We're talking about, are you programming your customers? And I hate to say that word, but it's true. Are you programming your customers or prospects and everybody that you're marketing to say, you need to buy my product or service? You need it. You don't want it. Now, let's skip the want. You need it. Right? And so a lot of people, when they think about their products or services, what they fail to talk about is what makes them different. Why should I buy your service or product over somebody else's product or service? Okay? And so if you look at all the businesses out there, the successful businesses have found a way to say, these people, you need to do business with this business because they're solid and they offer things. I mean, it's just either your and a lot of people, when they're like, well, what makes you different? They're like, well, my customer service. Well, everybody says their customer service. Am I right?
But when I say my customer service, I mean my customer service.
When I say it, I mean it.
I ain't talking like anybody else. I mean my customer service.
But if you get to that point, well, the problem is, if you're saying, hey, if you're telling people, if you yourself are telling people that your customer service, then you probably don't have good customer service.
You know what? Sometimes I don't.
No, you have to let your customers and clients, gratitude, spread the gratitude by promoting your business. Yeah. And a lot of people, when they're when they're saying what's their unique selling point, what makes them different, they're like, my customer service. That doesn't make you different. It doesn't make you different. You have to find something that talks and speaks to the customer, right? So, for instance, there's a lot of marketing agencies out there. A lot. I mean, it's so bad, everybody can build a website nowadays. There's a lot of web designers out there. So what makes Advent Trinity different? We're a growth-driven marketing agency. You know why? Because we want to talk to those business owners who want to grow their business. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, and here's the deal. We're realistic because we deal with business owners on a day-to-day basis. Yes, we can say results. Results, yeah, it's great. But results end up growing business perfect. What we're talking about is everything in the business. Does our marketing help the business portray what they want to portray to the customers and allow users, right, to go to their website and expand and scale? See, we're not just a marketing company. We're a technology company, right? We're helping people adapt. We're transforming all of their marketing into operating systems, not just marketing. It's operating systems. Okay, so it's kind of a mixture, and that's why we're different, because we have that department of technology to help the website turn into an operating system instead of just a marketing system, right? Instead of just a brochure.
Yeah, not only that, if I can chime in for a second, I think one thing that y'all do a really good job with is just building, making a connection with all your clients. Like, it's crazy. Like, you're the face of Advent Trinity. You know, at this point, you're the face of Or Delivery, too. Like, you do a really good job at making those connections with people, and therefore, you know, you not only do you build those connections, but you also show them the value of your product. You know what I mean? So I think you do a really good job in that, and you made some really good points there.
Yeah, and we're talking about, you know, when you said that building relationships, we talked about that last podcast, right?
Yep.
Why? And that's a part of the selling strategy, but it's also, you know, if you think about all our customers, it's a partnership, and I tell them that, right? We're not, if your business doesn't succeed off of our marketing plans, then we don't succeed. And I think it's in every single business that provides a service or product, it's about that value, right? And instead of selling them something and instead of saying you're going to be my customer, we're going to partner with you. We're going to partner with you because if you succeed, we succeed. And it's true in all aspects of business. If your product or service displays value to the customer, they're happy, and once they're happy, they're going to do what? They're going to go ahead and refer your business, which we'll talk about, like kind of the science behind that.
Not only refer your business, they're going to come back to you. That's another just big thing right there is, you know, they're going to refer your business, but they're also going to come back to you because they trust you. It's like you said last podcast. What'd you say last podcast? People buy from people they know, like, and trust, right?
Well, thank you for reminding me because I forgot about what I said last podcast.
Oh, my God. Oh, jeez. You have such a bad memory. It's bad.
Oh, man. Well, what I don't have a bad memory of is last night's game. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going to talk about this game. Because it actually has everything to do with business, okay? You think about it. You think about business. You think about the NFL is a business. It is a business. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's an entertainment, but it's a business. All right? And last night, I think all Dallas Cowboys fans were super, super worried because Dak Prescott comes back from an ankle injury last year, did not play the entire season, hasn't played the entire year last year. So we were all concerned. If you're a Cowboys fan, hey, I'm right there with you. I was concerned. I was worried. Now, to be honest with you, I was expecting to lose to the Super Bowl champions. But I wasn't expecting for it to be tight as a game as it was. Okay, they lost the score with Tampa Bay.
It's like 29-30?
29-31. 2 points. You know, and we're not going to talk about the call that happened at the very end of the game that's controversial. We're not going to get into that because we're not a sports, We're not a sports podcast, but the reason why I want to talk about this game is because it has something to do with today's topic, okay? So let's talk about it. Tom Brady and Dak Prescott, they're both what? Quarterbacks, okay? They're needed. They are a necessity to their teams, which is why do they get paid the big bucks?
To lead the team.
To lead the team. Do you think those teams would be where they are today without those QBs?
Nope.
No, I don't think so. And then a lot of people are like, "Well, we need a better quarterback than Dak Prescott." Let's talk about Dak Prescott. Coming off of an injury, do you know what his passing yards were yesterday?
No, I don't. I did not watch.
403 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Okay,
dang.
3 touchdowns, 403 pass yards. You can listen to the game, watch the game. Those commentators, everybody was impressed about Dak Prescott's performance last night. Is he going to keep his job, you think?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So everybody's wondering, why is Dak Prescott getting paid so much? We should invest in this. We should invest in that. Dak Prescott came out last night and made a statement. He made a big statement. If you're a football fan, coming back from an injury like that, and to do those kinds of passing yards deserves some revenue. You know what I mean? So he's needed, which is when you're a necessity, and when you're a necessity, you earn your value, and in return, your value of price goes up, and that's what I'm about to talk about today. You've got to know your value. See, people when they're struggling, they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna reduce my cost. I'm gonna reduce the price of this product or service," because they don't believe in their own value. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whereas Dak Prescott, we talk about what he was doing to negotiate his salary. I mean, he went like almost 2 years with just extensions. But this game obviously shows it doesn't matter what happens in his life. He's going to go out there and perform. Now, I say that, and let's knock on wood. Let's knock on wood to see to make sure that doesn't. If you're a Cowboys fan, to make sure he stays on his word. Now, Tom Brady is the GOAT. It's funny because last night there was a commercial, and he was talking back. It was a commercial. I can't really remember what they were talking about, but I do remember one thing of the commercial, and this was funny. So he calls back and he said he's calling New England about something about I think some sort of service, and I think it's cryptocurrency. That's what it was. And think about that. So their commercial did really good because I remembered it was cryptocurrency. Okay, it was some sort of app. So he calls back. He says talking about cryptocurrency, and then he's a fan of New England Patriots. He's like, "Come on, man." He said, "Oh, don't worry about it." And then the client was like, "No, the person that Tom Brady called was like, we wouldn't take you back." And then Tom Brady was like, "Yeah, you would." And then he was like, yeah, we would.
Oh, man.
He's the GOAT, right? But it's so funny because New England's like, "Please come back. Please, Tom Brady, come back to New England." Because he was a necessity. Do you see what I mean, though? Like, those two quarterbacks built the value, which is why they get paid the big bucks. So, in your business, it's not just about leads and marketing and sales. And if it was, we would all be millionaires. Because and we ran into this too. When you're starting a business, you have to start at low cost. But once you prove your value, you have to go up on price. Because it makes sense. It doesn't make sense. And you have to look at your margins. As a business owner, you have to think about how much does this truly cost me? Is this worth $100 an hour? Or should I be charging $300 an hour? See, and then a lot of people don't even think about that too. It's like, how long have you been in business? How long have you been doing this? Are you paying a rookie, or are you paying an expert? A non-professional or an expert? And that's a big difference. And here's something funny. I was on an interview with another company, and the host said something really that stuck with me. If you think it's costly or expensive to hire an expert, wait until you hire somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. because you're going to do double the work. You're going to have to pay twice. You know how many times we've had clients pay twice for one website? Multiple times. They go out and they say, I'm going to go to Upwork, or I'm going to go to Fiverr, and I'm going to go get a cheap website. Well, then they find out that their website doesn't work. They can't edit. They can't do this. They can't do that. The person that they try to contact isn't answering the phone. Now what? They have to pay twice. At that point, I might as well have just said, you might as well just paid us twice for doing the value of the work. So guess what? If that's the case, then it's no longer the same price. We know our value. We know that our job needs to get done, which makes us unique, right? And another thing that makes a business unique is their track record. Let's just be honest, right? If you guys have a proven track record of client satisfactory, your prices need to go up. You need to know your value. You need to know why you are of value, because people need you. That's what becoming needed is all about. See, when you're starting a business, you're developing those relationships, just like, any kind of sales. But when you start, and I'm sorry for moving that, sorry. You're gonna have to just go ahead and just not touch that audio in the editing.
I get mad every time he touches the microphone. Every time.
Getting back on track here, though. Getting back on track is like becoming needed, right? When you have a proven track record, people need that. People need to feel comfortable that their investment is going to be taken care of. If I give you $1, I expect $1.50 in return. Return on investment, right?
Right.
So that's what this, becoming needed is all about. And how do you become needed? How do businesses thrive? Because a lot of businesses right now are surviving, okay? And they're surviving is because every year what they do is, if you're in the first year, build that rapport, build that customer base. But the second year, you need to look at your prices. You need to look at, should I raise this 10%? Should I raise this 25%? Supply and demand.
Yep.
Supply and demand. I mean, if somebody doesn't know what their demand is, they're not going to last. It's not that they shouldn't be in business. They're not going to last long. They're not going to last long because next year they need to raise their prices.
So I actually have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Because, we're talking about being needed, but there's a few other things that you and me were talking about probably a few minutes ago. And can we touch up on USP?
The USP?
Yeah, let's touch on that a little bit.
So a USP stands for unique selling point. What makes you unique? And we talked about a little bit, but what truly makes you unique? And this takes some time to think about, okay? It's not going to happen overnight. You have to think about what makes you different in the market. You have to look at your competitors. You have to look at what they're doing, what you do different. And you have to say, okay, how do I take what makes me unique and how do I portray that into the market? Because what makes you unique will target specific type of demographic. And in return, that demographic will build and expand. But you first have to figure out what makes you unique. People love unique, by the way. People like different. What they don't like, and people have this misunderstanding that people don't like different. It's not that they don't like different. They don't like the unknown. That's what they don't like. So there's a difference between being unique and different and not knowing. See, people don't buy into something they don't know, but people do buy. It's something that's different, that's exciting. Man, that sounds exciting. I want to be a part of that. Why do you think people, business owners and investors, invest in different products? Because those products are changing the industry. But you know why they invest in them? Because they're unique and they know the psychology of people. People buy fashion. Fashion is not the same as it was a day ago, not even a month ago. Fashion changes more than the Google algorithm.
Have you noticed that people are dressing like they're in the 90s again?
Dude, I'm telling you, man. I look back and I'm like, did I just time travel?
It's becoming the thing. It's like
it's like so exciting.
I mean, hey, you go to Seattle though. You're like you're in the 70s.
Oh shit!
Like, I'm not even kidding. It's a bunch of hippies.
Early, dude. Wait, that's different. Sorry. That was a fail.
That was a major fail.
That's what makes me unique.
The bad jokes.
Yeah. Oh man, but the science behind being unique, though, is once again, people buy because you're different, and people get excited at it. They're like, man, people are gonna catch on to this. I like this. It's so different. It's unique. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of the growth. I want to be part of the difference, right? And that's what a lot of business owners don't think about. So back to that. That's what makes you unique, right? So if you're unique and you build value, your prices should start to go up as you go on, grow your business. Each year they need to go up a specific percentage for your business to make sense. And if it's not going up, then what happens is it becomes stale. You start to add more, and it's not just about, your value. You have to think about this. The cost of employees is going up. The cost of goods is going up. So if the cost of employees, the cost of goods is going up, what also needs to go up? Your business, the way you price your model, the way you price your services and products, that needs to go up. So if you're a business owner, if you're not thinking of those things, now I'm not a fully on expert on how how to margin and if it needs to go up 10% or 25%, you got to do your research, and that's what business is all about. Is about research. I like to think business owners are like scientists. They're always testing. They're always testing the waters or doing science experiments with their business to figure out what works. Same thing in marketing. Do you really think that there's one way to go about business or marketing? There's not. There's a million. Which is another reason why 97% of businesses fail. I hate to say it, it's like 97% of like failed experiments. You're testing. Eventually, it's like a risk.
Yeah, I think the big thing, like, people need to realize is that things aren't going to happen overnight.
Oh yeah, that is like
it's things are not going to happen overnight. You have to be patient, work hard, and you got to test the waters, like you said, because
what they see a lot of like these millionaires that happen overnight. Hey, like those, it's like the lottery. Hey man, if you're counting on that, you are no better than the person going to the gas station and getting the scratch cards.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being realistic. A lot of people, they're like going to these, they're treating their business as like scratch cards. Hey, I've got this great idea. Scratch. Didn't make it.
It's funny, we were talking about sports, and the whole time you've been talking, I've been actually thinking about this. I've been thinking of an example of, unique, something that was on the verge of failing, but yet made it back up. The UFC, I'm a big fight fan, guys, by the way. I'm a huge fight fan. But the UFC, I just want to point out, when they first started, they were banned from the majority of states. I don't know if you knew that.
It was so violent.
Yeah, it was...
it was like the Gladiator.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Which is funny. You talk about that because, you talk about unique. That was one of the things that, they were talking about when they first started was where are they going to fight in, right? A cage. But why did they choose an octagon?
I don't know. Tell me.
They chose an octagon because they thought about all the combative stuff that they did back in ancient Greek or Rome and stuff like that. They used to fight in stone octagons. So they wanted to put out a unique thing out there. Now the whole unique part was, how violent it was, because the way they were advertising was like brutal advertising. Like,
it finally stuck though.
Yeah, it was.
They had to put gloves on.
Yeah, a lot of things changed like throughout time period. But anyways, before I don't want to get too far into that, but basically they were not an overnight success. they were on the verge of failing. When the UFC was bought by Dana White and the Fertitta brothers, I think they spent like $2 million on it. When they sold it, guess how much they sold it for?
How much?
$3 billion.
Woo! That's what you call a USP.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's crazy how all that worked out. They went from about to fail as a business to, okay, these guys came in and did something different and got the thing going. And, you know, it's all about, as you're structuring these things out, it's all about, you know, what can you add to your product to make different? Really what saved the UFC as a business was the Ultimate Fighter on Spike TV. That they did that. That was the last thing that they were going to try to invest in to make it work, and it worked. You know, that's the thing. It's like Brian said, all about that unique value to the business.
Well, you know, that's why you look at these quarterbacks, you know, Tom Brady and Dak Prescott, and how much they make. I mean, they make some ridiculous numbers, like $31.4 million base pay in 2020, Dak Prescott, right? This year, he's on the verge of making $75 million. $75 million. You know, Tom Brady, I'm just looking at it, you know, little things I'm Googling, right? Because Google tells all. But $27.5 million. But here's the thing. Brady has earned $230 million in salary and another $100 million in just endorsements. They're not just making money off of their salary. People are buying into their brand.
Yeah.
You know, their personal brand. And that's some crazy numbers. Well, guess what? When you're needed, not just on the football field, but on commercials, because you're an entity that is reckoned with, you know, that I didn't even say that right, but what are you talking about? A force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
you guys know what I mean.
You know what's funny is, you know, talking about that, I want to bring up one more thing about, you know, going back to last episode about selling in 2021, right? And then going into this about what makes a person or business unique. It's like, I'm going to go back to the UFC as an example, right? You got to find out how to survive in 2021, right? It's COVID.
Oh, that's true.
COVID's a big thing right now. COVID.
It ain't going anywhere.
It's not. It's you know, it's either going up or kind of going down, but right now we're still kind of at some peak.
I'm going to tell you just like
point.
Dwayne Rock said, it doesn't matter
but
what COVID does.
Right.
You got to survive.
And I just want to point this out, you know, sports were canceled, right? There was nothing to watch, basically.
Except golf.
No.
It was like bowling or something.
No, this is where I want to point out to. UFC decided to jump on that. Now, obviously, I don't know, it's kind of an investment, what they did. They pretty much rented or bought whatever, an island.
Yeah, and it was like Fight Island.
In Dubai, yeah. It was Fight Island. They got that, and they made it happen. So, since there was no baseball, no football, no soccer.
There was UFC.
Exactly. And what did that do for the UFC? It grew their fan base. It grew their customers, their fan base. It grew all sorts of stuff.
Well, they found a way
exactly
to make it happen.
And
that's what successful business owners do.
Exactly. You know, they don't give up. They do not give up.
Like in the words of Eric Thomas, one of the greatest, you know, motivational speakers, he always says, winners win and losers lose.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And winners, they find a way to win. They find a way, and they have to think. You know I've worked with millionaires. They don't sleep. And I'm not saying that you don't have to sleep for you to be a millionaire, but what I'm saying is they're always thinking. They're always trying to find solutions. That's what makes them successful. You know? And in your business, you have to think. You have to find ways to make yourself successful. Are you doing everything you need to do? And we talked about this in the first episode. Is a business doing everything that they need to do to survive? And a lot of them aren't. A lot of them depend on their marketing agency. some of our clients, I mean, I hate to say it, they depend on us, but, you know, are they doing everything that they need to do to be successful? Because you can't just put all your eggs in one basket. You can't. And I'm just being realistic. And if a marketing agency tells you that you need to put all your eggs in one basket, you fire them today and hire Advent Trinity. We're waiting for you.
Yeah, it's it's always having a different source to. If we're talking about marketing, it's not just marketing your website. It's
what are we doing right now? We're doing a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. You got to find. There's all sorts of different ways.
Why we're doing this podcast, though, right?
Hmm.
The reason why we're doing this podcast is because what makes us different. If you listen to this podcast, it's the way we think. We're not your normal marketing agency. We aren't. We're a growth-driven marketing agency. We are the ones that actually take a look at all these things. What makes sense? Does it make sense? And then here's the deal. I had a call yesterday. It was like a day or two ago. But let me tell you what happened. So we have a prospect, and they called us, and I'm trying to explain what's going wrong with their business. What's going wrong with their business? And she's trying to now grow or scale her business, but she's on a Vistaprint website. So she has no control of her website. So then she starts to tell me that she's an expert in SEO. She knows what SEO is because she has clients coming from Google. I said, that's great. If you're the expert, then why are you calling me? Why don't you have a marketing agency? Well, that's right. Because we're the experts. I'm trying to tell you that there's like 10 different things going wrong with your business. It doesn't look like it's a good fit. It's not going to be a good fit. Go find somebody else. Well, you guys are local. Yeah, we might be local, but I'm not cheap. I'm not cheap because I know what my value is. I've been doing this for now 4 years, right? I've been doing sales and marketing for longer than that. Now almost 7 years. 7 years of experience. With certifications, hired team members with certifications, hired professionals, hired experts that all they do is develop. All they do is Google. All they do is PPC. All they do is graphic design. Well, you have more professionals, you have more experts, the value goes up because you know we can provide more value. When value goes up, price goes up.
Exactly.
So, just like you said, right? The UFC bought it for how much?
$2 million.
And how much did they sell it for?
Like $3 billion.
The value went up. Is your value of your business going up? And what are you doing to be unique?
And don't get me wrong, I do want to point out, like, it took them 20 years to get up to that point.
It took consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what we preach about here in Advent Trinity anyways.
Yeah.
So, that was a great talk. It was awesome. I had a lot of fun. We talked about sports, which if you're a sports fan, you're going to love this episode.
We should just do a business podcast on sports and relate it to real world stuff. Like, that'd be awesome. Just saying.
What we just did.
Well, we should whole pod. Well, yeah, whatever. You know what? Whatever.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Christian, once again for being my guest. Our next episode is going to be building customer value, which we actually talked a little bit about today. What does that journey look like? What does it look like when they're the digital presence and doing that on a digital platform? How does that look like? And how do you transform your marketing? Now we're going to get into, the marketing portion of, we just talked about how to do business in 2021 and how to sell in 2021 and what's changing. We talked about, becoming needed. But now we're going to take all that stuff that we talked about and talk about the process of what your digital presence should actually look like, which is why we're going to talk about building customer value next time. So once again, we want to say thank you to Nuvides Co-working and Southwest Restaurant Equipment for supporting our ATMA podcast. My name is Brian, and we will see you next time.
Have a good one, everybody.